Hello there, I hope you're doing well. My name is Virginia Njugunam, and today, let me tell you about my friend's love. Yes, karibuni sana to this episode. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for listening to us, and if you're new here, karibu sana. Take a cup of coffee and sit back, relax, and may God minister to us. Amani Aje. And let me say something that I'm not being saying, guys. Where if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, guys, what are you waiting for? Kindly subscribe and share it with your friends, with your family, and together so injili isonge. Ama niaje, guys. Yes, thank you so much for all those who have subscribed. Tufanye kitu. Ama niaje. Yes, so guys, we are approaching the end of the year. And now this being the last week of the month of October, Monday, it's been that time, and where see God amekuwa na sisi. One thing I can say about me, and we're in a period where people have started to go through their the things that people had already hoped they're going to do this year. Others made it through prayer points. Others were like, I have to achieve this, I have to achieve that. And that is where we are. People are evaluating their goals that they set for this year. And my friend, hata mimi itabidi hata mimi nimekaa chini in this month, now tunaingia November, nianze kuevaluate the things I had, the goals I had, the things I had written down, and what I have achieved so far, what I've not achieved, what should I do, what did I do wrong, what should I do well, you see, just to evaluate myself as a person. And one thing I can say, of all the things that I really desired to do this year, for me, that thing that remains constant, that I've seen God working yani miraculously, was me moving out from my parents' home. And and there's so much joy of you getting out of your parents' home. I watched even tutorials of how when you move out, you should have saved this amount of money. My friend, I was broke like nothing else. Unaona zile stories za kuwa broke. That was me. I was so broke. And one thing I knew also is that I'm moving out, but I'm not moving out so far from my parents. So I knew hata kikiumana aje, kuna one of the weekends navuka home, and I knew that was what was going to happen. But God had other plans for me. I had to move out very, very, very far from home, and hey, starting life far from home. I've been looking forward towards moving out, but now looking forward towards moving out far from home, where it's been bad. Yes, I'm still in Kenya, guys. I'm still in Kenya, just that I'm in a different county. But I am grateful because it is something that we are going to talk about. Let me not even proceed about that entire thing. Yes, manzi, where? So I have moved out. I'm living in my small space. Let me just call it my four walls. And ni kama una venye, let me just give a story of how when you were growing up, umechelewa kuingia home, unangoja mamako amesimama hapo na slippers. Kenye ulikuwa unachapwa na mwiko, slippers ya red ama ya blue. You see all those things, then you'll go unachapwa nazo. So it's like I was in a place where you see that venye mama kungoja jioni, then akucharaze yake yote. And for me, I can say my moving out was not how I really expected it to be. It's like God was just waiting for me, like how you see a parent does. And God has, hey, amenicharaza viboko. And in my four walls, I have really seen, let me just say, I have encountered God in my four walls. Hey, amenicharaza kiboko. Hey, but you know what? I am grateful for it. I am grateful because it is making me to be who I am. Why I think one of the plans that God really has for every individual is to have to achieve their goals, the purpose why they were brought to this earth to do. And that is one of the things I know God has for every one of us. And it gets to a time in through the process you get to be pruned. hey, you get to be pruned, and the pruning itself is not sweet, but you have to. So for me, God has been waiting for me to move out. Sasa ndio adil na mimi perpendicularly, because I have been living in a phase and time where I knew our guy Virginia is a filmmaker. Anything that Virginia had already started achieving her goals at that age, at 24, at 25. She had started living a life that people have lived 10 years later after their toiling and their hard work, and I started finding myself, identifying myself with them. Like, if you don't, I knew that wherever went, I had to introduce myself as Virginia, who is a filmmaker, who is a business person, Virginia, who is a farmer. And I loved identifying myself to those things, and I also started finding myself wherever I go, and people don't give me that respect, I feel as though these people don't even value me. And hey, it's something that God is dealing with me very slowly. And in all those things and everything, it happened that God was teaching me that He is the source, and the gifts He has given me are not the source. Now it brings me to the topic of the of this episode. Indeed, the topic itself is all about idolatry. I started idolizing these things. Also, God bringing me very far from the people I valued, from the comfort zone I was in. It's like God, there are people I had so treasured in my life. There are things I treasured so much. Their environments, I was so comfortable with them. Not even far from being comfortable, I found myself, these are the things that define me, and really, God, with having God as a jealous God, it's like having Him as a jealous God. He started to remove every single thing from me saying that, I would love to right now, saying that I want to identify myself just as a friend of God, just as a child of God, who is growing every single day, and it's becoming a friendship every single day. I have seen God being jealous, and I've seen God taking me back to Him alone. And it brings me to, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, we had peace. We From the Old Testament, people were worshiping idols. There was Baal. You could see what people could do in the Bible from the Old Testament. And it brings me to now, the current times that we are in. The current times we are in, you find that, hey, God, like, God is being replaced with social media. He's being replaced with power. We idolize achievements. We idolize money. We idolize marriage. We idolize singlehood. We idolize children. We idolize lifestyle, clothes. Yani ni mingi, just name them all. And we find ourselves, we are putting those things in the position of God, instead of us regarding them as gift and knowing that God is the source of it. And really, God, in my 4 walls, God has dealt with me. God has dealt with me as an individual emotionally. God has dealt with me as an individual spiritually. Now He is disciplining me to wake up every single day and worship Him and pray at night, in the middle uko usiku, waking me up to pray, even if I don't feel like waking up to pray. And I am grateful. Yani, things just aligned because it's time. It happens. It was in the same phase where my former colleagues, we started a prayer hour where we wake up to pray. We wake each other up to pray together just for 1 hour. And it was, any things were aligning in that phase until I'm like, "Enyewe God ni wewe." And I have come to realize I had really replaced God with all these things. I had replaced God with my career, my achievements. I had replaced God with everything that I regard, the people that I treasured, until I was like, God, usitoe mtu kwa life yangu. Kumtoa doesn't mean that they're dying, but kumtoa in terms of God is separating us. And my friend, it has been painful. The people I really treasured, the things I really treasured, the career I really treasured. Not that He has taken it away from me, no, but it's that He has told me, you know what, Virginia, you have to know that I am your God, and I am a jealous God. And I have come to appreciate that. So for me, my living, my existing, to be honest, God is my source. Forever, He will always be my source. At times, I found myself, if these things are not working, how do you get to know you're idolizing something? You find, when a career uko nayo vizuri, and then kuna time inaenda mrama, and or something you love or people you love, alafu they don't talk to you the way you really expect it, then we build so much expectations on people, and then we find we run to them more than we run to God. Our joy is tied to, if this career is succeeding, then I am happy. Like, if kama sijapata deal, you see, I just don't know how to explain it very, very well, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. And God has dealt with me from my four walls, and He has told me, Virginia, I am your source. Virginia, I'm the one who created you, and I'm the one who is guiding you all through the way of your journey. So yes, wherever I am right now, it's not even a place that I am doing creative. I'm in the creative space, just that I'm grateful for this podcast. But God has really dealt with me and told me, your joy will not be tied to people. You'll not be expecting people. You do not need to expect other people to make you happy for you to be happy. And after all, I am your God, so I have to worship God. And I have come to see how my God is a jealous God. Now, from the 10 commandments, the first commandment, the very, 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 very first commandment says, do not worship other gods but me. And sometimes, it is easy to say we don't worship other gods because we knew what the Old Testament, how people were doing it. But that is what we're doing right now. We are replacing God to the blessings that He has given us. And that is making Him so jealous. And do not get to a point where I have gotten where God has had to remove them first for me to identify it's Him. He is the source. He is the one who gives. He is the one who created you. And we are in phases where a lady, if you're not married, hey manze uko na shida, and then we start finding ourselves, manze, I just want to get married, forgetting that God is the initiator of marriage. And then single, like, I'm single I am single with a purpose. I am single with this and this and this. Like, you just start worshiping this single. You just start glorifying this singlehood as to, yes, it's a good thing, but you start giving it all attention, forgetting that it's God was placed you there for you to learn things there. We also get into ourselves where people who you married, and then you start you're not having children. Then you start like, hey man, we are not happy because we don't have children. Yes, I know the pain of not having a child. I don't know it because I've not been there, but I feel the pain of not having a child. I am a woman, so I desire one day to be a mom. But whenever you find yourself that you don't have children, then you're identifying yourself with all these things. Yes, it's for us to really rely on God, for us to really see Him as the giver, and then we're not going to rely on just having children. So yes, on this episode, it is like, what, I really deserved this. I really deserved what I really needed to go through this. I really needed it, so that I may get to know who my God is, so that I may really go back and restructure and say, nyeni God akona mimi. So also, when we put our trust in men, we find ourselves, we regard men more than God, you see. And the Bible tells us that cursed is the man who puts his trust in man. You see, it is cursed. Why do you depend on another man? Why do you get to a point kwa zile za manzi umespea our CCV na unajua hiyo ndio hope yako, forgetting that God is the one who created even that human being. So guys, we have really worshipped people. We have really idolized these other things. And even as we're coming to the end of the year, I don't know how your year has been. Maybe you had so much hopes on this job opportunity, then economy kafanya ile kitu, and then your business started going in rama, and you're starting to get in situations where manze, it's only God. So God is telling you is that He's drawing you closer to Him, so that you may see that He is the source. Okay, God is the source of everything. So yes, whenever you're not happy, do not go to God when you're not even only when you're in pain. Go to God in every circumstance. Go to God and in all your joy, because He's the one who gives joy. Yes, okay. I also proceed. I did last episode. I said we're starting a series on this week, but I'm apologizing for that. We will do the series in November. It's a short series for the 4 weeks. We hope and pray that the Lord will guide us. So yes, I was talking. Yeah, I've just diverted a little. I'm sorry about it, but here we come back to do not really rely on what people do or things that unategemea hii deal na isipoibana manze wewe ngori. God does not love competition, guys. So we should stop idolizing it. It's easy to say until you realize whenever you put something in place of God, you mean that this thing or this human being has power than God. And God, we knowing God as almighty, as all powerful, as all knowing, we are limiting who God is. Na hiyo ni kama unadharau God indirectly, So it is for us to really go back to that place of, you know what, God manzeni wewe. Vitu zimeenda mrama hii mwaka. God, I just need you to start all over again. Vitu zimeenda vizuri this year. Hey God, I celebrate and I thank you for this gift, this success of it, but you still remain to be the source. Never find your place. You see how you say, kuna hii kitu inasemanga for ladies, ati if you find a guy, he's either choosing you or someone else, you are never an option. Si kuna hiyo kitu inasemanga kitu kama hiyo. I have not said the exact words, but inasemanga you're never an option, baby girl. So or even a guy, you're never an option, kitu kama hiyo. So even it applies to God. If you get to a place it's God, or it's either God or something else, then God is never an option. He's always been there, and he will never make you an option. So if you're idolizing that thing, guys, it is for us to really slowly let it go. Repent and ask God for forgiveness, and then start dealing with it as though it is a gift. And now we proceed to blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. Do you know what it means for you to just trust in the Lord? Manzi, trusting in the Lord is not easy. Trusting God is not yes, I said it's not easy, but trusting in God is knowing that it's you acknowledging that He's all powerful, He's all knowing, He's the one who knows the beginning from the end. You see, every single thing is just acknowledging that He is the initiator of all these things. And even if this deal fails, He has another way for us. Blessed is one who puts his trust in the Lord. This is Jeremiah 17, verse 7. And whose hope is on the Lord. And whose hope is the Lord. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose hope is the Lord. So for me, my hope is God. Like in my future, my tomorrow, in everything, He is the one who He's brought me back to Himself and told me, you know what, Virginia, it is for me. It is for God through Christ and everything else. For He shall be like a tree planted by the waters, which spring out its roots by the rivers and will not fear when drought comes, but its leaves will be green and will not be anxious in years of drought. Oh, sorry, I have mixed up that part. Nor will cease from yielding fruits. So that is Jeremiah 17 from 5 all through, and it's talking about cursed is the man who puts his trust in man, but blessed is the man who puts his trust in the Lord. So guys, let us put our trust in the Lord. Let us stop having an option between God. For real, I really needed this because it is helping me know that God is never an option. God can never be an option. He will never be an option. So guys, have you been in a place replace God na hizi vitu zote? To be honest, I needed this. I needed hizi viboko. I needed them like nobody's business. And even as we stop to idolize this thing, let us acknowledge Him as the giver. This is Christ who has shown me that He is my friend. This is Christ who is my friend, and He's teaching me these things. And also in His teachings, At times it's not easy, but he really makes me understand that he's making sense, and I am just here to really learn from it, and it makes me know that I am not all knowing, but the fact that I am with him, it makes me that I am in line with him. So it is for us to really obey God. It is for us to give God the honor he deserves. Let us not replace him. Let us not idolize other things. We idolize our phones. I was watching these. Hey, there's so much I can talk about these things, but sometimes the time you spend the whole day, at times you spend the whole day on your phone. You've not even had a time to pray. You've not even had a time to even read the Bible. You know what? If you normally wake up at 7, make it a purpose for you to wake up at least an hour earlier to start reading the Bible, to not even just reading, to meditate on the Bible, and to have your time with God, to pray and seek his guidance. Are you this person who wakes up to pray at night? Let it be consistent. Let us acknowledge who God is, because in the world we're living in, Manze, we need God, and he is there for us. He's told us he loves us, and he's there to protect us. He's there to guide us along the way. He knows us. He knows my name. He knows every single thing about me, and also he knows every single thing about you. He will always be the source. He will always be God, and you can never replace him with anything. You need to really wake up and start praying and seeking for his guidance, and start repenting and asking God for forgiveness for the times you have replaced him with other things. You have replaced him with situations. You have replaced him with other with your job, because you honor your job more than you honor him. Guys, it is time for us to stop idolizing all these things and to start worshiping God. And that is my friend's love. My friend's love, in this love, he's showing me for this love to be really friendship, it is for you to acknowledge me as your source. And yes, God is my source. So guys, I hope you've learned something from this episode, that it is for us to stop idolizing these things. It is for us to stop replacing God with other things and to honor him. So guys, thank you so much for being with a part of us during this month of October. As we venture into November, may the Lord guide you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you in the last month. As I know we are in the process of doing these plans and everything for the end of the year. Remember, God is the source. Stop replacing him with any other thing. Stop idolizing other things and worship only him, because he is God. Okay? So yes, thank you for listening to us. See you on Friday. We have the Upbeat Perspective. We are going to start something else also. And thank you so much for your support all through. Thank you for listening, for tuning in, for subscribing, for sharing. You can find us on our social media platforms. We have Instagram at My Friends Love, TikTok at My Friends Love, and YouTube and Spotify at My Friends Love with Vijin Juguna. And also you can find me, Vijin Juguna, on Instagram. So guys, let us stop idolizing this and let us start to worship God. So for real, I needed this. I needed God I really needed to be separated. I really needed to be separated and taken far, for God to chapa me viboko until I come to my senses. But there are so many things I have learned even living in my own space. We will have an episode of talking about these things, about ukisha moving into your place, or the things you get to learn that you didn't know, and you have to develop those habits. So yeah, thank you so much guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to us in October. Thank you for the amazing feedbacks. Let us see each other on Friday, and then we have a blessed new month. Na God akuwe na sisi. Ama ni aje?